Greetings, Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux fans. I'm your host, Napalm Dawn. Going to give you guys some news today, and we'll get to that in a moment. But first, we're going to go ahead and talk about a different Marvel game real quick, and that is Marvel's Avengers, which has been out for consoles and PC for a little bit now, and we've been waiting to see when it'll come out to the next-gen consoles and everything. So, they had a war table today. And Kate is due to drop in that game on December 8th. So that's pretty good. She's going to have her own story. And once you go through the story, you'll be able to apparently play her last mission, endgame, and everything like that. She's got quantum tech where she can teleport. She can open up portals for her team to take, which is pretty good because, that'll get Captain America on top of a building in a way that he can't typically traverse, but maybe Iron Man and Thor could have gotten up there. She's going to have some scatter arrows. She's going to have smoke arrows, explosive arrows. Essentially a lot of Bleach-style flash steps and teleports and everything. It looks pretty good, and I think it is one of the things that will go and save Marvel's Avengers right now from the absolute doldrums that it has found itself simply due to the fact that they just haven't been releasing updates that people have cared about. It's mostly been bug fixes. So that's a good thing. I suggest you take a look at the new Kate Bishop trailer. I know it's over at Play Avengers on Twitter, and I'm sure it's on a couple other areas now. So, Marvel's Avengers Alliance Redux. Let's talk about the news there. So I'm going to get into some basics first. And those basics are, at this point in time, you should really look into having a copy of Beta 2 and a copy of Beta 3. And you might sit there and say, well, I don't understand. Why would I want an older beta when a newer beta is out? Why are you pitching 2 when there's 3? Which is several months newer. There's a big reason for that. Beta 2 is all about the combat. Beta 2 is all about the fact that you can get into missions, you can pick your characters. For example, over here, Spider-Man to Warren Hogun, which is obviously a follow-up extra attack group. You can edit the agent a little bit and add gear to the agent. There's a video up on how to do that. You just need to get the weapon codes, and then you modify the code in the player XML that corresponds to the agent, and you can give yourself gear that does not come preloaded with the game. That is one of the few things you can do in Beta 2 that was discovered. So here I have the Blade of the Guardian, I have the Mystic, I have the Devourer, and I have the Master Sword. This is all because I edited the player XML file and gave my agent the weapon codes for those weapons. So Beta 2 will give you the visuals. It'll give you the sounds. It'll give you the roster. It'll really ramp up your nostalgia for sitting here playing this game for hours on end in PvP and PvE, and when a Spec Ops would drop or a Covert Ops would drop. I'm not ashamed to say that the first time I got my hands on one of Goofy's earlier alphas and I got to relive certain sounds and visuals combined again, I teared up. So that's what Beta 2 is good for. A lot of the other things in Beta 2 are really not working nearly as well. Collect All is good for bumping up your resources so that you can buy people over here. You will occasionally run into bugs, the Mockingbird bug and everything like that. Not much you could do about that. Just start a new save if you screw it up. Mostly what'll give you the Mockingbird bug over here is when you start getting uniforms for characters. I don't know if there are specific ones that do it. I don't know if Goofy has a response as to why it happens yet, but that's some of the major bugs in 2. It's honestly, the best thing you can do is in one sitting unlock the heroes and the costumes you want, and then don't attempt to go back and do it again. So that's what Beta 2 is good for. Beta 3 is a bit of a different story. Beta 3 is more about the UI. Everything in Beta 3 is not really combat focused so much as it's the other experiences that you remember, like working with your allies. And the fact that this shows off the new systems that are going to be in the game, that your allies are not going to recharge over time, they're going to recharge over missions. So I hit collect all now, and these guys will be available again to collect from them in 10 fights. So rather than it be time-based, it's fight-based, and you can see some characters that have always been, superhero adjacent, like Agatha Harkness, J. Jonah Jameson, Aunt May. Of course, Tony was your Tom from MySpace. And when you do things here, you can train people, you can recruit them with your points. If you look at another video that I've got on Beta 3 and how to edit the files in this, you can fix people like Black Widow being untrainable. You can add people to your roster by editing the player XML. And you can also change the gear on your Agent 2, but it's a little bit different because when you do combat in Beta 2 and you start it up, it's simulated. So here is my Agent Daredevil and Black Cat. It's simulated that those two survived, but my agent died. And again, the training in this is also fight-based. So it increases as you go along. So when somebody's going from like 1 to 2, it's just a few fights. But then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you get to get a more robust UI experience in this. The store is working better. You can buy things in the store. Team is working better. Research, you can actually do research. Like I completed that strong ISO, and now I can research that, and it'll tell you one battle. So if I do a fight, and sometimes, yeah, that will happen that you lose. And then you go back to research, it's done. So you get to have some of the other experiences. So you can think of it like Beta 2 is like being a foot soldier. Beta 2's experience is all about being on the front lines, dodging, weaving, bobbing, shooting a gun, swinging a hammer, stabbing with a sword. That's all what Beta 2 is like. Beta 3 is more about like a captain's view. Think of it like an RTS. You're managing your base, your loadouts, and everything like that. And then combat is done by people that you say go there and fight that. That's the difference between Beta 2 and 3, and that's why I recommend that you have both. Now, little bit of knowledge about both of these betas over here that needs to be said again and again and again and again and again and again until I'm blue in the face and the cows come home and pigs fly. None of Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux will be on mobile devices. I don't know how to state it any clearer. There are going to be alternative language downloads beyond the beta. There are translations teams that are out there, setting it in Turkish and Portuguese and Spanish and everything like that. I don't necessarily know all of the languages that are being transcribed into the home language, but there is a team of people that are doing it. So, for France, flight deck becomes le deck de flight. I don't honestly remember what flight deck would be in French. I took it in high school and junior high, but I never learned flight deck. But, we have people working on that. The mobile versions just... I cannot tell you how tired we are of the questions for the mobile version and everything, just because there's so much behind that question that people don't truly realize it. First of all, the Android version was the literal worst version of the game that ever existed compared to the Facebook version, the Played-On version, the iOS version. The Windows Store Android version was the buggiest, was the least complete, was the worst one. It was also so far behind all the others, it wasn't even funny. So when people clamor for an Android version, it's like, why? You used to play this one on your PC, on your laptop, from the web, or mobile through Puffin and stuff like that. Why are you clamoring for this mobile version that really truly never existed? Android compared to iOS. You could possibly eventually get somebody who knows what they're doing that could make the modifications of the code of the PC version to do a fork or a split that could possibly work on phone. None of the technologies in this game right now are necessarily phone incapable. There's going to be some compatibility issues there, but I believe if somebody dove into the code and modified the pathing in the code and said, well, on Windows it's going to look in these directories for this, blah, 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 but on Android I can program it to look here. There are Flash players that are available for the phone that can handle this. You can sort of load it a little bit and then it dies. But if there's somebody who knows what they're doing in terms of Android coding, who can compile an APK, look at it in Eclipse and Android emulators and everything like that, there's a possibility, but it's not going to fall on anybody on the team. When it comes to iOS, that's never going to happen. You will never see this on the iOS version ever. Ever, 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 period, ever, never, ever. The reason being is on Android, you don't have to install things through the Play Store. You can install things just by getting the APK. That is one of the things about Android being open source. That's what you can do. Fortnite from Epic did that. Fortnite was delivered through Epic itself, not the Play Store. And there's plenty of legitimate functional games and apps where that's how it's done. The Amazon app for a long time was installed by going to Amazon and getting a link and doing things that way. It wasn't on the Play Store. So you don't necessarily have to be rooted. You don't have to have your phone hacked or anything like that. You just need to get the APK and you can drop it on there from your PC, from an SD card, from a link, and then you're good to go. iOS, that is not the case. You cannot install IPA files on an iOS device now unless it is jailbroken. There used to be ways that you could get the IPA and essentially import it into iTunes, and from your computer through iTunes you can install it that way. Far too much work, a far different set of compiling an IPAs compared to an APK. It's not going to happen on mobile, period. Will it eventually happen on Android? It's a possibility, but that person has to be dug up first. We don't have that person that could do it, or that team. iOS, just forget it. 99.9, 10 times repeating, you're not going to get it. So that's the status of Beta 2 and Beta 3. Where's Beta 4 is probably your next question. I don't have an answer to that right now. Goofy has not revealed any information on when we'd be seeing Beta 4. Will it eventually combine Beta 2 and Beta 3 strengths so that we have combat, we have working UI, do we have statuses back, do we have class bonuses back? I don't have information on that at this time. Goofy's been super busy handling things in his life. So now, here's why you're here, the big announcement. What you need to know, what is very interesting that's going on right now. So Friday, November 20th, we, on my stream, which has been on pause, more on that in a moment, we are going to have a guest on the stream on November 20th. We're going to do a special stream over on Twitch, and a link will be down in the description. And we'll have a guest on the stream. Somebody that you're going to want to check out. Who is that guest going to be? Well, I'm not going to tell you that right now. I can tell you it. I know who it'll be. But I'm not going to tell you that right now. That's the hype factor in it. Could it be the ghost of Stan Lee? Maybe. Could it be one of the MCU actors? Maybe. Could it be somebody who has worked for Marvel in the past and done comic runs or art? Could it be somebody famous within Marvel's sphere, either now or over the years? Certainly a possibility. Could it be an old Playdom dev? We've got a few that we know. They're actually in our Facebook group somewhere. I don't ever talk about their names because I want to respect their privacy. If they want to talk about their time at Playdom, and they do, they can expose that on Facebook when they post and everything like that. I like to keep them insulated from people going, "Ooh, was that leak about Doctor Strange true? Is that really what we were going to get? Were you going to get clean with blah, 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 blah?" We know it's so easy to bombard them with questions when they stick their head out and they post. I could bombard them with questions myself. I have a lot of respect for them, so don't sit there and say, "Oh, go to Facebook and post to so-and-so. That was the dev." But could we have one of the dev teams from Playdom show up? Maybe. Might we be doing a content drop from the art team or the writers team? Or are we going to maybe talk to a member of the writers team or the art team for Redux? That's also a possibility. Could it be possible that Goofy will make an appearance and talk to people and hold a question and answer period or something? That's also a possibility. All these things are open. But what you're going to need to do is show up on Friday at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on my Twitch channel, and you'll see who the guest is. And you'll be able to talk to that person. And you'll be able to ask them things you've always wanted to know about Marvel, or Marvel Avengers Alliance, or Redux, depending on who shows up. Just wanted to put that out there. Wanted to hype you guys for Friday, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on my Twitch channel. We'll have somebody that you're going to want to talk to. Now, the reason why I said we were going to come back to something about the streaming is most of this week I haven't streamed, and that is due to the fact that I am once again gainfully employed. However, this week has been a little odd in that I'm missing a lot of the access to do what I need to do. So I've sort of been in a limbo where I do a little bit of stuff and then I run out of what I can do and I just wait. So Monday I was able to stream, and actually even today I was able to stream, however I'm doing this video instead. Tentatively, Friday 3 o'clock p.m. There will be a fallover date to Saturday if I can't get it done on Friday. But let's shoot for Friday, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on my Twitch channel, which is in the description. And really happy to have this person on the stream. I think it'll be exciting for everybody for this person to be there. Might be male, might be female, might be some pansexual other that Deadpool has pulled out of some crazy sex dimension he's visited. You'll never know. You're just going to have to show up on Friday, which is tomorrow at the time of making this video. So be there. The only thing you'll need to do is have a Twitch login so that you can correspond in chat. This is not going to be like these big streamers that do follower only. This will just be a regular chat. Just have a Twitch account, sign into the channel. You'll know that it's up because I usually start it about 5 minutes ahead of time with a pre-roll that has a timer on it, and usually start that anywhere around 2:50, 2:55, and then we'll roll into the Marvel Hour over on Twitch. Hope to see you guys there. Hope you're excited for it, and hope this video really explains a lot of what's going on. with the mobile version, what Beta 2 and Beta 3 are about, what are the differences, and we'll be going from there. Hope to see you tomorrow, everybody. Take care.